all heard it, right? That getting older means you just have to slow down, especially with your fitness. But is that really true? I mean, should your workouts in your 40s, 50s, and beyond actually look all that different from when you were in your 20s? Well, today we're going to dig into what the science actually says about that. So let's just get right to it. Is age really this one-way ticket to taking it easy? Does it mean you have to say goodbye to heavy weights or give up on that high-intensity cardio you love so much? Well, the answer, it's not nearly as black and white as you might think. It turns out the real change isn't about doing less. It's about being way more intentional. It's like this quote says, it's all about prioritizing what your body needs most. This really means we need to train smarter, not necessarily easier. And that leads us right into our first section here. This whole idea that aging isn't about hitting the brakes, it's about rebalancing your goals. The big picture isn't to scale back how hard you work, but to totally refocus your approach to fitness on what's going to serve you for, decades to come. So what does that rebalancing actually look like in real life? Well, instead of being laser focused on just, say, aesthetics or hitting a new PR, your priorities start to shift. They shift toward things like longevity and preventing injuries. We start thinking about building functional strength, the strength you need for everyday life, like carrying groceries or playing with your grandkids, and making sure you have sustainable energy that lasts all day, not just for the 1 hour you're at the gym. Okay, but if we're going to train smarter, we first need to get why our bodies respond a little differently to exercise over time. And it's really not that your body is breaking down or anything like that. It's just evolving. So let's take a quick look at the key changes that are actually happening under the hood. One of the absolute biggest factors is a process called sarcopenia. It's a bit of a sciencey word, I know, but all it means is the natural age-related decline in muscle mass. And it starts a lot earlier than most of us think. Honestly, understanding this one concept is the key to why our entire fitness approach needs to adapt. You see, sarcopenia creates this kind of domino effect. It's not just about losing a little muscle. That process directly slows down your metabolism, which can make managing your weight a bit more of a challenge. It also impacts your joint stability, which, you guessed it, increases your risk of injury. And while that's happening, hormonal shifts can lower your bone density. All of this together is exactly why our workouts have to become so much more intentional. All right, so knowing all of that, what are we supposed to actually do about it? Well, this brings us to what we can call the 4 pillars of longevity fitness, a new foundation that's designed to support your health and strength for the long haul. Let's break these down real quick. First up, strength training. It becomes absolutely non-negotiable. It is our #1 weapon against sarcopenia and for keeping our bones strong. Second, mobility and flexibility work. This stuff keeps our joints healthy and moving through their full range of motion. Third, balance and stability exercises. These become so critical because they directly reduce our risk of falling. And finally, of course, cardio. It's still essential for heart health. It's the consistent mix of these 4 that creates a truly powerful, age-proof routine. We've covered what to do in the gym, but what about everything that happens outside of it? This is the piece so many people get wrong. As you get older, recovery isn't just kind of important. It literally becomes your secret weapon for making consistent, long-term progress. Think about the shift like this. In your 20s, you could probably push through fatigue pretty easily, and rest days felt optional, right? But as you age, your body's signals for rest get louder and way more important. Listening becomes a skill. And those rest days, they become absolutely essential for repair, simply because that repair process just takes a little bit longer than it used to. So here's the bottom line, the crucial point. Recovery is no longer optional. It's not just something you do when you're not training. It is an active and vital part of your training. Things like quality sleep, smart nutrition, and those strategic rest days are the very things that let you come back to your next workout stronger. Okay, so we know what to prioritize. Now, let's flip it around and talk about what to avoid. Because honestly, knowing the common traps can be just as important when it comes to building a routine that actually lasts. So let's run through 4 really common mistakes. The first one is going all out with super high intensity training every single day. That can just overwhelm your body's ability to recover and, well, it's a recipe for injury. The second mistake is kind of the opposite, leaning only on cardio and forgetting about strength training, which means you're not doing anything to fight off sarcopenia. The third is trying to push through sharp pain instead of listening to your body's warning signals. And finally, a big one, getting too comfortable and never progressing your routine, which just leads to a plateau. And that last point about progression is so important. This isn't about getting complacent or just taking the easy route. Not at all. The path forward is still a climb. You still have to challenge your body to make any kind of progress. The difference is that now the steps might be a little more gradual, a little more thoughtful, and way more in tune with how your body is actually responding day to day. So what does all this look like in a real-life week? Well, here's a great example of a balanced template. Notice the focus is on frequency and consistency. We've got 2 to 4 days of strength work, 2 to 3 days of cardio, and mobility sprinkled in throughout the week. And crucially, some form of light movement every single day, even if it's just walking. Now, this isn't some rigid prescription, but it's a really flexible and effective framework you can adapt. So at the end of the day, the perfect routine is the one that evolves with you. The real question isn't whether you're slowing down, but whether you're getting better at listening. So I'll just leave you with this. What is your body telling you it needs this week? Answering that question, well, that's the real key to a lifetime of fitness.